Welcome to Six in the City, the podcast where 620-somethings talk about shit and some of them live in cities.
I'm Jen.
I'm Lexi.
I'm Nancy.
I'm Elena.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Robin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Six in the City podcast. Today we have Jen, Lexi, Nancy, Elena, Jane, and myself, Robin. And today we're going to be talking about dating 101. We're going to talk dating apps, dating theories, dating beliefs, how to deal with breakups, and all that juicy fun stuff. So to get us started, why don't we have each person just give us in 1 to 3 words, your current relationship or dating status. We'll start with Jen.
3 words.
1 to 3 words.
1 to 3 words. Single and okay.
I like it.
Thank you.
All right, Lexi.
Flavorless.
Nancy.
Domesticated.
How about you, Elena?
I'm really bad at these describe your whatever in 1 to 3 words things. I'm gonna say,
what do you put on Facebook?
Nothing. Do people still use Facebook?
Or well, like what would you tick off, I guess?
I mean, in a relationship, that's so boring.
Well, it's 3 words.
You're right.
So
You're right. There we go.
Jane.
I would say I am single and loving it. Oh wait, that's 4 words. Single and thriving.
Oh, love it. Love to hear it. And for myself, domestic bliss.
Ooh.
Well, thanks, y'all. That's helpful, brief context for our listeners. Let's just jump into dating apps. Do you use them? Which ones do you use? How do you feel about each one?
Let's get into it.
I'll just start by saying I actually got back into Hinge like a few weeks ago. And I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I didn't go on it the whole pandemic up until now. But I hit like a new level of boredom. So I have it again. But it's okay.
Have you noticed that weird trend where like now people like put like I'm vaccinated in their pictures or their bio? Or they like when you match, do they say it to you? Because I don't know if that's a regional thing. Like, I don't know if that's just guys in my area.
I mean, I haven't seen that at all.
Okay, so that's guys in my area. I need to move.
Are they putting that in hopes of being like, I'm safe to hook up with?
Well, like if I match with a guy, because I've been using Hinge as well for context. But my mom does all my swiping and then I just talk to the people.
Oh,
okay.
Perks of living at home, but every time I get like into the conversation, they're always like, "Don't worry, baby, I'm vaccinated," and I'm like,
"Baby,
huh?
That is gross." So unnecessary.
I would want to know if they're vaccinated, but
that's
I
not
also
like
don't
that.
want them to say it. Yeah,
not that way. No,
say it
not
like
that.
that.
That was gross. Yeah. I think for me, I actually haven't been on apps in like a pretty long time, like over a year and a half, I think. A big part of that is because I'm at home right now and I don't want to see anyone that I know from high school. I just want to avoid that entirely, so I just don't, and I'm not tempted to either. But yeah, as soon as I'm out of here, swiping I go.
before I was in a relationship, I would consider myself a dating app connoisseur, I guess. I met my current boyfriend through Hinge, my ex through Plenty of Fish, and every guy I've dated was throughout all the dating apps. It was the only way I could meet people because I actually was very firmly against meeting people through acquaintances. So that was the only way I could meet strangers, I guess, that didn't have connections with like my friend group. But yeah.
Why were you against meeting acquaintances?
I think it's messy. And from my personal experience with knowing other people and what they go through, sometimes it's messy. So like, and like, I think dating is very, at least with me, was very complicated. And I think I'm a very complicated person relationship wise. So I really try to keep it separate from like people I know, because then it just gets messy, I think.
Valid.
That's true.
But that's just me, you know. I'm I don't want to knock to anyone who knows. Like that's like my ideal. Like ideally, if I like had to choose, like yeah, I would love a meet cute in like the coffee shop or like a friend of a friend or something. But I feel like today's dating world like is so reliant on dating apps, and like people don't really go up. Like even though I would like to theoretically have met a person through a coffee date or whatever, or like meeting, standing in line, if someone just randomly spoke with me, I'd be like, why are you talking to me, you know?
I'm like the exact opposite.
Oh yeah, I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say I was just gonna say I struggle with the dating apps. I want the in-person.
Yeah, I like can't make a connection with someone if I meet them online. It's like it like creeps me out more than meeting someone. I would like love if someone like hit me up at a coffee shop. I'd be like, oh, this is so nice. Also, I'm pretty sure the only time I've ever used a dating app is when I was studying abroad because I was like, YOLO. But other than that, I think they're pretty disgusting. Like it's not disgusting to use them, but I just feel gross when I use it, which is why I don't usually.
Yeah, I feel similarly to Elena. I feel like it's very ingenuine just because you can swipe on so many people. Like, how do you even know if like the person you swiped on intentionally swiped on you? It could have been an accident. Then it's like, oh, like who messages first? You know, it just seems like one of so many. Like I don't feel like special. I'm just like another match that they have, right?
Jane wants to be special.
Yeah, I want to be special. So I feel like it's like it would be hard for me to like find a relationship off of a dating app. Like I've definitely met people that I'm like still friends with, but like I think for me, because I take it casually as well. I don't think I'm like on there like looking for my husband or anything like that, or even a relationship. So I take it very casually. So then converting that from like casual like friends to like a relationship is very weird to me. The idea, it's kind of cringe.
I get that. I'm not saying dating apps are like the perfect mechanism. Like, do you know the amount of guys I had to go through to find the current one I'm with now? So then it's like, you know, like literally years. So definitely like I appreciate the in-person like authentic meet cute, whether it be through like work or acquaintances or the coffee shop, bookstore cliche. But I just felt like for me it wasn't realistic just because of my own personality and my discomfort on random strangers just approaching me in real life, even though that's how else would you meet someone if it wasn't someone you already kind of known. But so far it's worked out for me, so yeah.
Did you ever feel fatigued by it?
Oh,
did you ever feel fatigued by like going on all those dates with people you didn't know?
Oh, for sure. Like it's like it took like I'd take so many breaks, you know, and I'd like give up, but then I was like, how else am I gonna meet someone? So then I go back on them, and like I'll switch through like different ones. So yeah, it wasn't perfect.
So for those of you that like are actively on dating apps and have like been on dating apps for like a while, I know something I struggled with is like I talk to people and all my conversations get jumbled. It's like one conversation with like multiple people. I like can't remember what I told people, so I feel like I'm having the same conversation over and over again. And I think that kind of contributes to the lack of authenticity of dating apps, you know, and actually like making those connections. How do you guys feel about that?
I would say for me, my thing with dating apps is like I do it, but the moment I match with someone and a conversation starts, I get immediately turned off. And then like I end the conversation like when it starts, like, and it's like then that brings up the whole point of like, why am I even on it? But it's like what I realized even when I was in college and I was like using it for the first time, like the moment someone's like, oh, you want to meet in person, I like lose all like any feelings that I had to begin with. So like I've only met one person once, and Robin knows this, my freshman year of college. And then I was just like, oh, I don't like this aspect of dating apps. But then that's like the whole point of it. So I don't know. I guess we're in relation to Jane. I don't do conversations. So
you just don't talk to people.
No, I hate it.
Just deletes the app after one conversation.
Yeah, I was like talking to someone today, and I think like he like implied like exchanging phone numbers, and then I just stopped talking because I was like, never mind. I'm okay. But
I feel that on a deep personal level.
It's just not it.
Like as soon as someone's like, hey, wanna go grab dinner? I'm like, oh yeah, maybe like in 3 weeks. And then I never message them again.
It's such a bad habit.
That's so interesting.
I've literally scheduled dates and canceled them.
So like on Fishbowl, which is an app, if you guys don't know, it's kind of like a professional Reddit. Basically, like everyone's anonymous. You can ask like random questions, whatever. And there's like a singles bowl, right? One of the heated debates is how soon should you ask the person to hang out after matching? Like how soon after like talking? And from what I've seen, it seems popular that it's within a few days of talking. But I think if someone was like within 3 days of talking, like, hey, let's get dinner, I'd be like, no thanks, you know? I would feel very rushed. But on that app, people seem to say like it's better to like accelerate that first meeting. I don't know.
I guess to just like not waste time in like today's dating climate. Like, but
my number was 2 weeks. It was like around 2 weeks because I wanted enough. A few days was going to be too soon for me, and that would turn me off. Even though I get why people would want to speed it up, but then if it took longer than that, then I'm like, what are your intentions? Like, do you not want to meet up? So for me, like the sweet spot was like 2 weeks.
Do you view dating apps as like a vehicle, like a method to date? Or do you see it as part of the dating process and dating experience? Because I feel like those are kind of different, and that would affect how fast you'd want to meet someone in person, or like how you view like talking with them online versus like meeting up in person. Because I remember, since Jen shared that one guy, I remember trying to craft your messages with you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you helped me.
But we would wait. Nervous. But we would wait 4 hours before you would respond, because that was like the back and forth. So I'm curious.
A long time.
I hate thinking about that time in my life.
Okay, no more.
But oh my gosh.
I don't think I've ever seen it as a dating vehicle or anything like that. I've always seen it as a pure casual thing. I think in modern dating, something that a lot of people deal with is their partner's not wanting to commit. But I had the opposite experience. They want to commit. I don't want to commit. But then I'm like, well, I'm not like seeing other people. So I guess like what's really the difference between committing and then like not committing but still only seeing one person?
I feel like our modern dating language lacks nuance that like dating language of the past had. Like there's a difference between like quote unquote going steady and like being exclusive with someone and like being someone's significant other or like boyfriend or girlfriend, you know? So I think that's the nuance that your conversation was lacking.
Yeah,
with
like
that
degree.
person.
It was like the degree.
The degree of commitment.
Right. I was like, yeah, I'm fine like only seeing you and hanging out with only you. But that was like my boundary, you know.
Maybe you need like a scale, and like next time like you're meeting someone, you show them a scale and you're like, point to the scale of commitment where you want to fall.
But yeah, I think that's like also something to like keep in mind when you're like looking to date, especially in modern dating. You need to know like what you're looking for. Like if you don't know that and you don't like set that standard for yourself, that makes things a little bit more difficult, I think.
In this scenario, I'm the one that's like, what do you mean? Like, why don't you know? Like, let's define this. And that's why a lot of my like previous, like, because they never came to the point of actual relationships, I guess, like flings or hookups, whatever nuance you would call it, like would end because of that what do you want thing. And I think for me, for dating apps, it's like so mainstream that it's like a hookup app, like for a lot of these apps. So then it's like, how do you navigate that if you are interested in a long-term serious relationship, finding those people or finding the app that sets the tone for that? Because it's perfectly okay to use the dating app as like a hookup or fling or whatever. But what Jane says is very important, that both parties know exclusively what they want and set their boundaries from the start instead of like hurting people. Because I viewed, obviously, because my serious relationships came from dating apps and that was the only thing that they could come from, that was my vehicle to dating, and I would be like serious with people too, but then I think people think, and that was my downfall, like thinking you can change the other person. So I would think that they would maybe want to eventually go into something serious even though they said they didn't, or they would want to change like what I am looking for and like think that I would minimize what I want. So I think it's very important to be clear from the get-go. Can I ask everyone a personal question?
Yes.
How many people have you said I love you to in a romantic way?
For me, just one.
Also just one.
Yeah.
5, but I regret all of them.
Did you say 5?
I'm a whore.
We love it.
No, I respect
But like
that.
looking back, I think I just said it because they said it, and then I was like, well, you have to say it, but I didn't really. One time I might have believed it, but I still regret it because he didn't deserve it. But all the other times I think I felt obligated because it was like we'd only been dating for a few months, but the other person was like, I love you. And I was like, what do I say? What do I
You
say?
say thank you, Lexi. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your dedication to me. I appreciate it.
I feel like it's so easy to like romanticize high school relationships because you like aren't jaded yet.
Oh, 100%.
Like I thought I was in love in high school like at least 3 times, but by round 3 I was like, no, nah. And now I can't even date anyone. I'm ruined.
Oh, dude, I feel that. I can't date anyone. I think I set it to 4. I think
I'm also 5, but like Lexi, I don't remember who said it first, but like I definitely didn't love them. Like looking back, like most of them, it was just like a thing people said to each other, you know.
People just say it, you know.
They
Super
do.
cash.
Like, love you.
How about you, Nancy? I don't know if you answered as well.
Oh, just one, just my current relationship.
Also, some like hookups have said it to me, and I'm just like looks
What?
back and forth.
Like during
like,
sex.
I met you 3 days ago, like after.
Was the
was
sex
like,
that great?
No, it was so bad.
Apparently for them it was that great.
For them, it was probably that great.
I left immediately afterwards.
Oh
So
no, you're too hot to handle.
I was so uncomfortable. So bad.
Damn. Elena must be really good in bed.
No, it was honestly just 2 people. One of them was like super drunk, and the other one, I don't know what was up with him. He also asked, oh my gosh, this guy. Can I tell a story about this guy? Okay, first of all, I met this guy in the bar in Korea, and then I was like, oh YOLO, like let's have fun. And then he like invited me over to his place, and I gave Robin my location on Kakao Talk because I was like, Robin, if I get murdered.
Was this during Chuseok?
Yes, it was during Chuseok. Then like I go over and we like hang out, you know. Then afterwards he's like, I want you to meet my parents tomorrow at the dog park. And I was like, oh. He's like, it's your birthday, like I want to treat you to something special. And I was like, let's not. Yes, motorcycle, dude. He had a motorcycle. That was that was the biggest seller. I was like, he has a motorcycle.
I remember it's like 2:30 a.m. and I just get this location notification and just no context, right? And I'm in the middle of typing, being like, BB, you okay? And you're like, in case I die, here's where I am. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh man.
But
I thought that was a smart move, you know. You always like in movies, you're like, why aren't you sending your location to someone? So I was like, I'm not gonna be that bitch. So
mine's turned on permanently with one person just in case.
That's so smart. The amount of times, and I'm so blessed to say this, that I was not kidnapped or murdered for just randomly going into people's cars and like being driven to Annapolis or Baltimore. But yeah, no, anyone watching this, if you haven't done so already, please share your location with people. Tell your friends where you're going. Do like a check-in. I think it's also very important if it happens to be a bad date, like the amount of times I've had to call my friends at specific times and pretended like our apartment or our dorm room was flooding to get them out of that situation. So always have a backup plan. It's better to have one than none at all.
Very smart.
And with that, I think we'll wrap up this episode, Dating 101, but there's a part 2 where we'll talk more about breakups and just general dating advice. For now, thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Six in the City. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at sixinthecitypod.
This episode was edited by Robin Kim, with music brought to you by Gandhira Pratama.